Well, you made it here with me. Today is my final day of 7 days of videos, and you have made it into my famous and colorful room of vintage Bakelite jewelry. And I'm going to zoom in and give you kind of a close up of a lot of my favorite bangle bracelets. And the reason why I'm going to start with these is because this is where I started collecting Bakelite. I was seduced immediately by the color and the forms. These are Bell Kogan polka dots. Very, very, very cool. There are reproductions of these, so just be very careful. Look at the carved tropicals, the inlaid woods, the mixture of materials, and I painted this room electric bluish purple to offset that amazing array of reds and yellows and oranges. As an artist, color means everything to me. Look at this vent hole carved green one. Inch and a half wide, another tropical leaf. Tire track is what that's known as, but these are all completely vintage. Look at the feather on that one. More tropical flowers, dots, and then berries and leaves. I hope this video is going to be okay. Some of these are still really dusty because they've been on this display stand for 15 years, and I don't wear the bracelets, but look how wide these are. Plain and very cool, but look at the array of colors that you could get it in. And then the marbleized Bakelite was always some of my favorites, and I'll go one shelf up to show you some more. And then right next door to this is all of these. And I was an obsessive collector. The top row, there's a rope twist, Mississippi mud. Bakelite has some very interesting names as well, but you have to remember I'll be doing many, many videos on my Bakelite collection, but this was just to get you introduced to my Bakelite room that's been devoted to Bakelite for over 25 years of my life. I love this one, and this one's fantastic too. Love the tropical flower, very much so like a Gauguin painting back in the day to put orange and turquoise together, and the blue is painted, it's not inlaid in that one. The faceted spacer bangles and then the larger faceted bangles had always made me very, very happy. Reminded me of faceted amber beads, would go beautifully with faceted amber. And then this row down, kind of lifesaver bangles in kind of like these beautiful jewel tones of a green and a kind of salmon orange and a very almost apple juice. The inlaid dots, please be careful on the inlaid dots. They're frequently reproduced, so please be careful when you're purchasing the inlaid dots. Make sure that they're inlaid. We'll get into that specifically later. And look at this clown. Look at that mime, carved and over-dyed, original to the 1930s with this tiny little rhinestone star. I've always been fascinated by that style of bracelet, and I was very happy when I found that back in the day. It's very deep-walled, it's very thick, it's over a 1/4 inch thick, so please be on the lookout for that one because it still goes for big money. And then I was always into this marbleized in any color, but look at this lush green. Bakelite will test with 409. It will test with simichrome polish as well. Sorry to trip over that simple information, but I didn't want to bobble the camera too much, but that kind of gives you the lay of the land of the bangles, kind of where I started my collection, because they were readily available back in the day. So I'll pause you there, and then I'll go one more shelf up for this grand celebration. And thank you so much for sharing out my videos and getting me to 7,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I want one shelf up, and these are my bow tie bracelets. Red and cream, orange and cream, green and cream, multicolor. The purple and cream is absolutely so gorgeous. And then a black and cream 1 inch. The price on these has always maintained and continues to hold. We have seen an ebb and flow in usual Bakelite, but when you get into the unusual, they're still commanding very high prices. We'll get into value in future videos, but I just wanted you to see my bow tie bracelets, and all of these are 1 inch wide. This is 5/8 inch. This is 3/4, and this is a 1 inch. I wanted you to see those. And then we're just going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to go over to this stack right here. Look at these. I was always seduced by the cream and green together. Random dot, the second one over, inlaid, I believe 5 dot on this one, 6 dot on this matching pair, an elongated single layer of lime green over cream, sometimes attributed to Bell Kogan. This one is the inlaid up and down, and then we go into the orange stack. What? You can't have a bad day when you look at these bracelets. Then we go another row up. And this is where advanced collectors understand my passion and my love for this. Look at the gigantic 4 dot bracelet, and then the 2 random dot, lime green and cream. And this is a very up close view of a lot of these things that you normally don't see. We'll get into value, we'll get into testing, we'll get into all that goodness, but I just wanted to take a quick celebratory look at the room in my house that I have designated for Bakelite. Look at the orange and cream. I've always loved the orange, just period ended and finished. And then we'll back out a little bit and we'll go down one row and we'll go down to these right here. And look at these. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the black and cream laminated on the inside of that. It's a tropical floral that goes all the way around, very deeply carved. And then 2 random dot or bow tie bracelets on those 2, 1/4 inch. And then look how optic these are from the side. Look how beautiful they are from the side, because you're going to see the side as you wear those. And look how that brown is kind of squeezed in between. I'll talk about the production of Bakelite, how it was produced in next videos, but look at this stack of green. The octopus sucker is one of the favorites right here. And then this, I live in Ohio, so acorns and oak leaves. And then this lotus with this inset pave rhinestone. Look at the modeling in that green. This video is all about the color seduction that I had with Bakelite. And there's so much more to show you because I've been at this for so long. But when people say they don't quite understand the allure of Bakelite, look at that color, And yeah, these are so dusty. They've been on these holders for such a long time. Should have cleaned before I did the video, but I'm not proud. And then there's Bakelite necklaces that are hanging. There's tons of those in another tray. Then we'll come down here to this fruit set in this corner. I've always loved this. The brooch, the matching brooch, and the necklace. So I don't want to make you dizzy, so I'll back out now and I'll go over to the table real quick. And I'll show you the brooches and some vanity pieces and some of my favorite brooches and some of my favorite pins close up. So we'll hold you right there. All right, so I came over to the table to show you some of my favorite translucent Bakelite pieces, and these are just absolutely magnificent. These, Bakelite jewelry didn't really get into full swing until the late 1930s and into the 1940s, highly produced into the 1950s, but these are apple juice. This one's reverse painted and then carved from behind. Look at that. Look at that color. It goes from a red into kind of a greenish turquoise, but it's apple juice, so it's got the third color of yellow. These are plain apple juice bangles, and this is another one that's just so beautifully step carved in this electric bluish green. And there was blue Bakelite, and as advanced collectors will tell you, there's a lot of colors that have changed over time because Bakelite does oxidize and does change color over time. These are apple juice, rhinestone inset on this one. Someone may confuse this for celluloid. I could understand that, but that's still Bakelite. This really deep carved one, faceted, looks like amber, doesn't it? This reverse carved one is very sought after. And then this one has Stardust in it. And Stardust Bakelite was only made for 1 year. I believe it was in the late 1940s, maybe 1947 exactly. But that's Stardust. So there's a metallic kind of confetti on the inside, but look at that for Stardust Bakelite. Isn't that wonderful? We'll get into Stardust specifically down the road, and another reverse carved. I have a lot more of the apple juice bangles. I must have maybe 60 or 70. We'll scoot that one out of the way, and then we'll move this one over. And I'm so focused on bracelets in this video already, but I'm going to kind of pedal a little bit faster. I have, probably another maybe 400 or 500 in my collection, but these are all authentic. These These are all real. This is end of the day Bakelite. We'll get into that as a term eventually. Tropical leaves on this one. I needed to start with this video because I've been avoiding my Bakelite video now for over 6 months of being on YouTube. And there's a reason for that. I have so much to say, and I've been doing it for so long, and I have so much baseline information, and we can get into the specifics of when Bakelite started and the history and Leo Bakeland finding it by mistake basically in 1907. I could give you a history lesson. I could give you the lecture series, but there's so many informational videos that are already accurate on the history of Bakelite. So why repeat all that information? It's not necessary. But what this is a practical guide of my collection for both beginning collectors and advanced collectors. Let me scoot this one out of the way. I think we're in the way here. Yes, we are. We're totally in the way. So I do keep these on the mandrels because the bracelet mandrels or displays because it keeps them safe. Again, these are dusty because they've been here for a long time. I didn't want to bring on reproduction. This is old and original. That's modeled. It's kind of a yellow and black. And then we'll get into this. This is a reproduction. So if you see this bracelet, this is definitely reproduction. We'll talk about that eventually. We'll talk about reproductions and quote fakes because there's a lot of them out there. I was looking on YouTube the other day and I looked up Bakelite bow tie and Bakelite random dot and Bakelite bow tie bangles. I did a eBay search, and of the 31 that were listed, 31 were fake. And that's tough information to take, but 31 of the 31 were actually fake and not correct. And they were asking, between 700 and 800. So I think they knew that they were fake, but we'll get into that down the road. This is a dovetail inlay. This is by Teresa. So this isn't a reproduction, but this is a newly crafted Bakelite bracelet. And this was made out of mahjongs that were cut across, that were dovetail mahjong game tiles. And she so carefully inlaid this. You can't even feel a seam on that. But that has oxidized. Look at the outside yellow, and then look at the inside, cream corn. So that was the same cream corn color on the outside. Bakelite does get kind of a suntan. They call it a patination and oxidation. I've always called it a suntan because it has a lot to do with exposure to air, human oils in the skin, oxidation, sunlight, and also exposure to, I believe, UV rays. There is formaldehyde in Bakelite, but according to all information, it is safe to wear. But there was Bakelite there was formaldehyde in the formation of Bakelite, so that is true information. This one's laminated and very cool. I've always loved these kind of scissor cut spacers. A laminated one there, 3-color, and another marbleized. But I put these stacks together because I really enjoyed the color combinations. And wow, those are really dusty. So I've often told people, I not only collect diamonds and really kind of beautiful costume jewelry, but I also collect dust. Let's see if I can straighten this out just a little bit. There we go. We're a little bit more straight with the camera. And these were just the classic spacer bracelets, but I show you these because they're still very easy to find, very affordable, but look how much fun you could have stacking them together. Lime green, kind of a celery green, a mottled, gorgeous cinnamon kind of orange, and then a mustard yellow, and then on the center here, this Mississippi mud that's kind of in the brown family, but still yellow. But look how much fun you can have to create these stacks of bracelets, and then these could be used as spacers with other bangles. So you could make your investment and you could make your money go farther if you want to get 1 or 2 really nicely big, deeply carved bangles and then space them with these rounded spacers. But they're very substantial. They are lightweight, and again, the noise, that undeniable noise that Bakelite makes. I should make a video of ASMR for Bakelite. I would watch it. So anyways, I could fall asleep to that noise, actually. It's very calming and very beautiful. But okay, so that's an array of Bakelite bangles. God, I sound so excited because I am. I can't contain myself. We'll scoot this out of the way. These celluloid sparkles were on my desk, and we're not talking celluloid today, but celluloid sparkle bangles. I'm sure all of you are saying, please talk about celluloid as well. No problem. I can hook you up with celluloid. No big deal. We can do that. These are all Art Deco, so they're all very, very old celluloid. Look at that diamond-shaped red one. But I've always had fun, in the bypass snake bracelet. I've always had fun stacking these I've always had fun telling a story by having an armful of bangles. And a secret that I'll let you in on, I cannot wear any of these. People always say to me, why would you have such a collection of things you can't wear? And I would say, because the color makes me happy and I enjoy my collection. Look at this. So this is a little handled tray that I had bought. It's just clear plexiglass. People would say lucite, but no, not quite. It's plexi. Oops, I'm shaking the camera and I'm trying not to. Look at that array of the marbleized green, and then a blue green and a yellow green. And some of these just look so much like jade. Look at that one on the end that's so transparent and see-through. I really loved the color of these. And again, very, very sizable. Gigantic, sizable, thick-walled. And again, for testing Bakelite, I would use 409 or Simichrome on the inside. And basically what happens is the pink color changes to a kind of a mustard yellow. And I've covered that in so many of my past videos. But I will get into a specific video on how to test. So bear with me on that. Some people will say you can do it by smell. All plastics will have an odor. All plastics will have some sort of smell when you heat them up with water. Do not stick a hot pin in anything. That's not necessary, and it damages the pieces. So I always say to people, treat your jewelry with respect. And that's very disrespectful to stick a hot pin into something. And that's just, it's not necessary in today's day and age. But I loved the size of that one. And look at the colors. Again, this blue one, kind of that, they call it blue moon. So it's a mottled blue with this green swirl. They're just so beautiful. And again, look at that as a stack. You'd only have to wear a couple of them. Only wear like maybe 3 or 4 and tell your color story that day. Or mix them with brown or red, or be courageous, you know. Mix them with a random dot or a bow tie or a laminated bracelet. So we'll pause there. Oops, no, we won't. I'm going to scoot this out of the way. And like I said, I've been dreading this video because I have so much to say. And then when the camera starts, I just go blank. This is a cherry brooch, a cherry bracelet, and a cherry necklace. And I had that on a display downstairs. Very cool for Bakelite, very classy. I now have over 60 of the cherry-themed items. When you get into the other fruits and mixed fruits, you get into substantially more money. So again, I'll pause that. I think I will go to some of the brooches next and just lay them out on the table per tray and just kind of flip through them so you can kind of see some of the brooches and pins. I have trays of earrings right off camera. I have necklaces over on this side that I just can't get to because I've been, again, packing feverishly for this move. So please forgive the haphazardness of this first intro to my Bakelite collection, but I had to do this for my celebration, and I appreciate you all joining in. Hold on one second. So I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I'm going to anyway. I forgot to put my Bakelite rings on earlier, and I feel completely embarrassed I didn't have my rings on. So anyways, those are the rings of the day today. One that I made that's random dot, black and cream. And the other one, you've seen it before, sterling silver and a broken Bakelite poker chip that I really love. Anyways, so got my rings on now. I feel so much more natural. So we'll go into some of my favorite brooches. This is the running rabbit with the articulating arm. Over-dyed, resin washed, hand-painted, carved, original pinback. But look at this guy. You know, this was me in school. I've said it before. I was always late to school. I was always late to everything, and I still am. You know, so this is definitely my spirit animal because I'm always late and I'm always in a hurry. But look at that gesture of him running, trying to get to school. Oh my God, I'm late, I'm late. And his little arm goes. How amazing. And when I've said to people, you know, those people that don't like Bakelite or don't quite understand it, I didn't either. In the infancy of my collection, I thought it was just a plastic. And I thought it was just, you know, I didn't quite understand people investing so much money, and I didn't understand the craze, but that's because it was in my infancy of my collection. And I'm not picking on anyone who doesn't quite understand it, but your taste will evolve over time. And if it doesn't, I don't think you're truly a collector. I really don't. I think a collector's heart and a collector's mind always, you're a collector at heart, but your mind kind of controls a part of that as well. So I think an understanding of a material always elevates a collection, and that's just my personal opinion. For those that don't understand Bakelite or the allure, if after this video you still don't understand it, there's not much I can do to save you. This is by Martha Sleeper, and she was a famous actress turned Bakelite craftsperson. And look at this book of matches. Look at the way this is angled to be put together, original pin mechanism. I think I've only seen this brooch 2 or 3 other times. And it's always been slightly different, but look at these matchsticks that are on celluloid sticks, and the size of this is gigantic. And that used to be a star. That used to be a painted star on the surface, and only 3 of the 5 points remain. But that shows honest wear. Look at the way the box is angled. The craft that it took to put these things together makes me crazy, because as an artist, you're transcending a material. Craftsperson took just a plastic, quote, just a plastic, and turned it into a book of matches. If that can't show somebody that wearing Bakelite makes you a rock star, I don't know what can. I just don't know. There's nothing more I can do than say, look at this, and then tell me that Bakelite isn't historically important. I would call you crazy. People have called me crazy because I think I spent over $2,000 on this one. And I would do that again all day long because I wouldn't find it again. Look at this dog with the swinging, articulating head, a terrier with inlaid eyes. How could you have a bad day with a dog that his head moves back and forth? I have 2 Airedales, 2 Airedale dogs that the heads move on, and they're a matched pair. I'll go try and find those real quick and bring them on. The Dog in the Doghouse. This has been a favorite of mine forever. And I did meet Sally Loeb and Herbie Loeb back in the day, and I don't want to drop names on here. But Barb, my dear friend locally, Barb, you know who you are. Barb was so kind with her information and her time back in the day that I wouldn't be such a great collector without Sally and Barb and a few others. There's a few others, but I don't want to be a name dropper. I don't want to say, no, this person and that person, because that doesn't make you something. It doesn't, you're not defined by who you know. You're not. But look at that this is on the cover of Life magazine. Let me squeeze back here and see if I have that magazine. I do. It's right on the top of my stack, right where I thought it would be. And look, so there's the Bakelite heart that I just showed on the cover of Life magazine. Look at that. And it's all black and white. And this was in 1941. So it says April 28th, 1941 on the cover of Life magazine. And look at that, a black and white photo and red lettering, and boom. And what's really strange? In this magazine, there's no mention of this pin. There's just this lady with this gorgeous heart pin on, and yeah, fantastic. Wartime, fabulous, amazing. Whimsical, fashionable, oversized, fun. Let's see here. Oh, here is, I hope she wouldn't mind, but I have I won't show it, but I have a book of Bakelite collectors back in the day. I won't show that because it's a little private. And then I have, here, I met Sally Loeb, and here's her with her Bakelite wall. She is in the big book of Bakelite, but there's Sally looking kind of, overly dramatic, sad. I hope Sally would be okay with me showing this, but I met her, and I did buy the veggie necklace from her. And it is in the big book, and there's only one of them in the world. And then I had her, Sally was quite the personality, I had her sign a picture of herself to me, because I said, Sally, I love you. Can you sign a picture of me? She was the foremost collector back in the day. And everyone who was competing against her would even admit that that was true. And then here, I'll block out my address on this receipt, but I had bought, I'll block it out, but I had bought a lot of things from Sally and Herbie, so there's their original receipt. And I kept all these papers because it was important. And Sally was quite the personality. Look at her stacked with her Bakelite back in the day. And there's my veggie necklace I own. I'll bring that in a coming video. I couldn't get to it today. It's in a showcase. And you have to understand the size of the collection. And look at her Bakelite bangles. And look how amazing she is. I just talked with Sally a few weeks back on the phone. And we had an amazing conversation that was, I'll leave it at that. We had an amazing conversation collection. And here's some, well, I guess I should show this because I'm going through all this. Here's some Bakelite flatware that I bought from her. And my collection didn't stop at jewelry. So these are diagonal inlaid black and cream flatware. So the spoons and knives and forks as a flatware set. And I thought when I had my vintage kitchen, which I still don't have, I would need Bakelite flatware. And here's the flame pattern. And I only kept a place setting, I think maybe four of this one. And I think the rest of them are downstairs. But there's the inlaid flame. So it's supposed to look like a flame. Yeah, so this was, oh, and that was her code on the back. It wasn't a price, but that was her code of what she charged me. But look at that yellow and orange, the translucent red. Translucent red instead of orange, and then that yellow. And you know, it's really strange. I told my friend Tanya, it's weird when you hit the record button. You'll say some of the darndest things. You'll call red orange. And then in the one video I said, you know, I really don't like the color orange. And I was holding something that was yellow. And I'm not colorblind, you know, I can totally see it just fine, but my brain, and then I thought, after I rewatched the video, I go, oh my God, my favorite color is orange, and I just said, I don't like orange. So let me grab some of these trays behind me. Well, let me pause the video again real quick. Oh, and then here's a photo of me on my 40th birthday. And I was loaded with Bakelite jewelry. And I show this because that is the personality I am. Silver leggings, you know, Daisy Duke cutoffs, and a shredded fluorescent pink shirt with my hair up in a mohawk. And I had on Bakelite earrings, and I had Bakelite bracelets on. And I went roller skating for my 40th birthday. So that's me, you know, and what says, artist and enjoying life more than roller skating when you were from the 1940s. Time travel there. I just, Freudian slip, I guess. When you were 40 years old, what says more than celebrating life than showing up in basically a cornfield roller rink in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio? Springfield Township, what says, hello, I'm 1940 and a Bakelite collector more than that? So I had that out on my desk. And I figured, that just kind of shows fashionably what I did with my Bakelite collection from time to time, because I always wore it. I am going to pause you and grab a couple of these trays. Give me 1 second again. Thank you so much for your kindness. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Don't get mad or frustrated with me, but this is going to be really quick because the amount that I have to show you. This is only one stack of the Bakelite brooches I have. These are... These are the leaves, tropical leaves and bicolored leaves, laminated and carved. There's kind of a close-up of that tray again. I will be bringing this back because there's so many versions that you've got to see in there. But I live in Ohio, and fall in Ohio is always very important to me. So that is some of the carved leaves. And then we'll go into maybe 7 more trays. What a mess of a video. But again, my back was still a little touchy today, and I don't want to keep bringing it up, but it's true. You know, you got to sometimes call it out. Whatever it is that's bugging you. But I guess we're not really going to make it over to the light box today. I guess we're going to do it this way instead, because I was going to take these out and talk about each one, but this is a tray of the horse brooches that are Bakelite. Again, carved, and a lot of different colors and many different variables, but the horses always had me very, very happy. I would like to tip this towards the camera, but no, it's going to pick up, it's going to pick up too much of the lighting in the background. But there you go for horses. Hopefully you got a little peek in the horse tray. I tried to go after some of the common forms and then also some of the more unusual forms. And then if I bought it in, up here in the corner, well, we're not going to get there, but up here in the corner, if I bought it in lucite, I wanted it in Bakelite too. So I'd buy the lucite versions. I would also buy, I don't know how Bambi wound up in a horse tray. And look at this little deer. I don't know how those wound up in there. Probably because I was redoing the trays at some point. But look at those, the horse and jockey and the English with the, horse, bridle and the boots and, the horseshoes. The little whip up at the top of that one. And look at that horse, with the wreath of flowers, because that one won the race back in the day. Front view, very, very large. These brooches are anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 inches, so they're not small. Understand that Bakelite was very large. And again, there's lots of reproductions of some of these things, and I am wiping off these trays as I go really quick, because a lot of fingerprints. I take these to a lot of my presentations at the libraries. Let's set this one down and give my back a little bit of a break, because it's giving me a little reminder right now. So some of the insects, like that's lucite, and these are lucite. We'll get into those in another video. Bakelite wings on this one by Castle Cliff. And then these very large kind of sunflowers always had me very happy. And I would wear 2 and 3 at a time. The praying mantis is incredible. And a special shout out, because I listen to all of my viewers. My friend Jimmy had asked me, show me your Bakelite praying mantis. Well, there he is. A Bakelite root beer praying mantis on lucite. Very, very unusual. That one's from the late 1940s, early 1950s. Huge, gigantic. I think that one's, about 4.25 inches across. Doesn't show that large on screen, but look at it compared to your hand. It's just gigantic. And I'm holding these at an angle, so they are much, much larger in real life. So there's some of my insect and flower trays. And when I displayed these, people have asked me, how do you display your collection? Well, this is how I displayed them. And I did have these hanging on the wall in the room devoted to Bakelite. So we'll leave that one there. These are a lot of the florals. A lot of the carved tropicals. Look at the mixture of colors as well. Logs with oak leaves. This lady head, very earth tone with a brass border. Really unusual to laminate and make a separate layer, much more labor intensive back in the day. When you start to see that, you'll know that those were more expensive. I loved the yellow, green, and red. I just liked that as combos when I wore my Bakelite. I would wear them in certain color combinations. Black, I had a tendency to mix with yellow. So I would use black and yellow together. And some of the black Bakelite, if you hold a very powerful flashlight up to it, is actually midnight blue. So just remember that. So those were some of the tropical flowers. And again, this whole stack, I think there's maybe, well, I hate to admit it, but I think there's 7 more stacks. And I have sold off a lot of my collection, but I still do presentations on the collection for antique. Let's see if we can move this up just a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's move this up just a little bit to get that glare off of it. I don't know why. I don't know why that top glare is there. Oh, it's the bottom glare. Oh, it's the bottom edge. That's why. Let's see if we tip it. Well, we'd have to tip it this way. So there we go. These are all clips. These are all clips from the late 1930s into the 1940s. So these are all dress clips. People say these are shoe clips. They're not. They're in fact dress clips. They were never meant to go on shoes. These were always used on clothing. And my friend Sally, once again, I mentioned her because not only a friend and an advanced collector of Bakelite, but she would put on, I'll show you sometime, she would put on a straight pin, safety pin behind her clothing and have maybe about a pin it from the inside. Like reverse your shirt, pin it from the inside, and have the pin, like the bar part of the pin go through the front of the outfit. And then she would put the clip through that and wear this as a brooch then, and she could wear it anywhere on any outfit. So you could convert dress clips that were only, a little clip on the back instead of a brooch pin. You can convert those to just a brooch, just a pin that you can pin on any location on a shirt or a jacket. These were a lot of the random dot pieces, and sorry earlier that I called 2 of my bracelets random dots when in fact they were bow ties. But again, when the camera turns on, sometimes the most advanced collector here, I guess I can't take the cover off. I thought I could, can't do it. These are random dot and really amazing for random dot necklaces, tons of earrings, and I do have I think I have 6 trays of earrings left of the earrings that I once had, but the orange and cream, and again, back in the day, a lot of these were selling for exorbitant amount. I have a black and cream pair that some of these things you have to understand, they didn't make it into a tray, so a lot of these things were, just out and about in my collection, but that's the original clip mechanism on the back. for clip-on earrings, and then this kind of disc shape with the black and cream Bakelite. So I really hope you are enjoying this relatively chaotic display of my Bakelite collection. And I'm reaching for this ring because I want to show you this as well. Oh, I need to wipe this down for sure. You know, people are going to think, oh, he's homeless. He doesn't really live there. Yes, I do. I hardly ever leave my house anymore, unless I'm hunting for treasure. Look at that for a random dot ring. Adjustable shank on that. So someone would see this at a flea market and go, oh, that's a piece of junk because it's got an adjustable shank. I would hope that they would say that was junk because I would show up and buy that little guy for next to nothing. These were, back in the day, going for $300 and $400 for a ring like this big gumdrop. They would call this the gumdrop form. And it looks like a giant gumdrop. It looks like candy. Licorice, you know, it looks like edible candy, but look at that, how beautiful and wearable. And again, think about that in the 1950s when people question, how was Bakelite fashionable? Think about the lady that was forward thinking enough to have a gumdrop ring in the late 1950s. Boy, I would have loved to have met her. Think about the lady that wore this giant lime green and polka dot necklace. You know, I would definitely reach over today's J. Crew. I would reach over other, you know, quote, famous designers to buy something timeless and important like this. You bet your butt I'd reach over that. And then these are purple and cream up here in this top corner. Very unusual color. Maybe I could sneak one of these out. Yes, I can. I think I did wear these a few times, but purple base. Purple, absolutely. And a lot of times purple will oxidize to a deep brown. I will do a video on some of the original colors of Bakelite and how they have oxidized over time, so you can kind of understand how some of the colors shifted and changed over time. So, you know, to all those people out there who have seen me at the library presentations and have seen my collection in real life, and I know some of you watch, I will be bringing a whole nother assortment when I come the next time through the, now that I'm starting to find some of these trays that I hadn't touched in a long time, I will be bringing a lot of these. These were a lot of the translucents. The cat with the reverse carved fish in the fish bowl, he's carved out of wood. He or she is carved out of wood, inset eyes, and then the reverse carved apple juice fish in the fish bowl. That, again, used to go for $1,500. Now it's down to like $600. So it has suffered the consequence of time. And again, supply and demand. They were very hard to find back in the day. Now you can go on eBay and find that, you know, today. Again, watch out for reproductions. I will do a whole video on reproduction Bakelite, what to look for, how to know what you're dealing with. But again, this kind of just gives you a quick overview of some of these trays. And then what I'd like to do eventually, I'd like to do a very specific video on the history. You know, how was it found? How was it initially used? And then give kind of that, I don't want to say boring lecture series, but isn't it much more fun to look at the end result? It is. And then, of course, testing, like I said, simichrome on a little Q-tip. Maybe I will do that at the very tail end of this, just to have it in, and then we can go in depth again. Oh, and then, of course, like, you know, I bring this on as I stretch and reach for it. I bring this one on because I would wear this one, and then I wanted one that I didn't wear. I was just crazed. You know, I was a crazed collector, and still basically am. You have to understand I've sold off a lot of my collection, you know, over the years, but these were some of the remainders. Oh, school themes and sports themes. I forgot to mention that. And this is known to be Martha Sleeper up here, this ruler and fountain pen and writing book and reading and arithmetic. And then this one's Martha Sleeper as well up here with the school theme charms. This one could be Sleeper, probably not, more than likely not. But again, you know, we're not exactly sure. And then the thumbs up in the corner, I always thought that one was really cool. I always loved that one. Sally had one of those as well. And I always said I should have bought hers. And then after I didn't buy hers, I had to find that one. All right, that's that stack. And then on this other side, there's probably another 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, you don't want to know. There's 11 more on this other side, and then there's 2 more stacks in the other room, so maybe we wouldn't have that much to go through. So I'll bring this back on. I am going to go grab some simichrome and a Q-tip, and I will test one of these that I wear all the time. I'll test it live on camera so you can see what to look for in very safe Bakelite testings. Wait 1 sec. Be right back. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, I made it back in a flash. I ran up the stairs. This is simichrome. Back in the day, it was $3.50. I don't think it's very much more than maybe $6 now. You can see how long I've had this. So to test Bakelite, so you understand, You don't need to use a lot. This Simichrome tube has been with me for, oh boy, probably maybe even 12 years. It's never dried out on me, so what you do is you take the cap off. And someone in a past video used white gloves to test. I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know. Well, let's not get into the white glove thing because then I'll get in trouble with another appraiser. I don't know why people use white gloves. It drives me nuts. You need a tiny little bit of touch of Simichrome. Okay. Oh, and I guess probably, well, I don't know why the white glove thing bothers me, but like when this one appraiser says you have to use white gloves or you're not an expert. Actually, the experts that I've been around that worked in actual museums never were allowed to use white gloves because they're slippery, and we have fingerprints for a reason. So they would wash their hands very well to free up any dirt and oils, and then they would go in and use their actual hands because we have fingerprints for a reason. Okay, enough of a lecture series on that. Let's clear that up. So, and she's, she's not a very nice appraiser. All right, so we've got these, we've got the tiny little touch of Simichrome. You don't even need that much, but a tiny little nothing of Simichrome, tiny little baby touch. And then take the back of the piece, somewhere inconspicuous, right on, let's just say the tip of his arm right here, Let's take this, and it starts off pink. See how it's light pink? We'll take this and we'll rub just, a little bit. We'll rub a little bit as I go off camera. Always stay on the back of the piece. Rub, 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 rub. Okay. And then look. Oh, it turns a nicotine yellow. It turns like a very kind of a mustard yellow. So you can rub a little bit more. Look. It's yellow. So it goes from a light pink to a light yellow. Get a napkin. Wipe that off immediately. Get it off of there right away. And look, it causes no issue and no problem. Doesn't take off any finish. Just don't rub it for 8 hours with your Q-tip. Rub it very quickly, very, very quick on the back of a piece or on the inside of a bangle. But see, it turns this, very, I wish I could block out the rest of that light, but like a pale mustard, like a mustard yellow. If it turns black or brown, no, that's not positive. If it turns that kind of, this color yellow, yeah, that's Bakelite. Now, some reds will not test. Some reds won't test. This red would test, okay? The resin wash pieces usually will test. Sometimes it comes out more red, but you don't need to really test this because the resin wash, you already know that's authentic Bakelite. You just know because you're exposed to it. This one would definitely test if I went on the back of that one. On black, 90% of the time, black will not test. So just know what to look for in terms of form when you get into those colors, and I'll do a further video on this. We'll go real in depth, and you can see that kind of kind of yellow color on there. At least I hope you can. But it looks like my ring light is really flashing that out. So again, we'll go over to the light box eventually and do a test on camera. But Simichrome. So order Simichrome, and look, you don't need much. Look how long that's been with me. And, that'll last me probably a lifetime. Don't glob it on there and don't go crazy. Less is more. If you think you're not getting enough of a test, flip your, Q-tip around, put a little bit more Simichrome on it, and test in a different area. Rub somewhere else. On the back of a brooch, the back of a bracelet, the inside of a bracelet, the back of an earring. Don't do the front. There's never a reason to test the front of anything. And as a jewelry historian, I will tell you, we appreciate you understanding that you don't need to do certain things in certain tests. That's the most foolproof test. 409 cleanser does the same, will be the same basic result with 409 cleanser, but I've always personally used Simichrome. That's the one that I've used the most. So anyways, as to books, that's the one thing that you've all been kind of, cheering me on about. Bakelite books, I have probably 15 in my collection. This is one of the best. This is the Bakelite book, and it goes, through by collector. And then when you get to the center of this book, there's Julie George. I knew of her as well. But you'll see, this is Diane. She was a very beautiful collector. Here is, as we get to here is Sally's collection. So there's her random dots and her bow ties. And here is Herbie and Sally Loeb. right here. And there she is in all of her whimsical glory. And there's Herbie, her husband, and they traveled the world. Look at her arms filled all the way up to the elbows with those random dot bracelets that, back in the day, that whole stack probably cost her $80,000. The other arm probably cost her $100,000. But the veggie necklace is what she was really well known for. She had on the running rabbit brooch as well. My running rabbit did not come from her collection, but my veggie necklace sure did. And once I saw this book, there's the Philadelphia bracelets that everyone still talks about in the center there. But again, I've been around. Oh, and the banjo playing frog. So here's the banjo playing frog, and then there's Jason's version. Please, please, please remember, be careful. There are reproductions of this guy. This is an original. So if you see this color and form and design, again, the construction and the orientation of the pin back is very important on these brooches. A lot of times the bottom leg is broken off as well and repaired, so just be careful on that. But look how his little arm, how he plays his banjo. I have every color in that now. I have the yellow, the red, the green, and I think there's one more, and I'm drawing a blank because, the camera turns on and I blank out. Here's more of her collection. I do own both of her Scotty Dog pins that were pinned on this lampshade. That's how she displayed her collection, is on a lampshade, some of her collection. And then she wallpapered a room, as I showed you in that picture earlier. Here she is with her little Yorkie dog. Look how amazing Sally was. So whimsical. Oh, and there's the veggie necklace right here. And it lists it as, her statement piece, and that's what she was known for. And when she'd show up to auctions, boy, everybody knew she was there, Not just because the money she spent, but she was an amazing personality. She was just fantastic. And she was in Home Alone, the movie Home Alone. She was actually an extra in the film Home Alone. And she told me all about her time on the movie set. And then she did some advertising in Chicago. And I did go to her house in Highland Park. And that's where Herbie and her were staying at the time. And I think that Sally's still in Highland Park. But yeah, this book is amazing. So there's the Bakelite book by Matthew Burkholz. So that's a great, great book to refer to. Love that book. So we're going to set that out of the way. And then I'll just leaf through a couple of the other ones. This one was a very early book, I believe late 80s, early 90s. That's on like deco jewelry and use of plastics. Very useful in this one to discuss other plastics as well. Celluloid, Catlin, everything that, one could desire in plastic jewelry. Very inclusive in this book. Absolutely wonderful. And that is by Schiffer Publishing. Yeah, that's by Schiffer. And then we'll go into, this one was Art Plastic. This was very interesting. Amazing. Andrea Dinoto, D-I-N-O-T-O, a fascinating book on plastics and the use in, buttons and radio cases and everything you could think of, cutlery, telephone cases, utilitarian wares, dresser boxes, you name it, even furniture. Amazing book on art plastic. Tons of Bakelite magazines. Like when Bakelite was on the cover of Connoisseur magazine, in July of 1985. July of 1985 breathed life into Bakelite. Look at the cover. July of 1985. How could you not love that as a jewelry historian and as a collector? And on the inside, look at that spread. What on earth? That should be my thumbnail for today. I think that might be my thumbnail. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's a picture of me or maybe it's a picture of her. Unbelievable use of plastic. And look at that. What on earth? Oh my God, what a great picture. Absolutely fantastic. So, there is a lot to say about fashion and Bakelite. Goes hand in hand. This is a wonderful book. Another one out of my collection. This is on Bakelite jewelry. And I believe this one, let's see here. Dee Battle and Eleni Lesser. Yeah, a Schiffer book. Really incredible book there. Another one, this one I really loved. This is by Corky and Ginny, I believe. Let me make sure I'm telling you right. Corky and Ginny. This is the Bakelite jewelry book. This is a really great book. So if you want to add that to your collection, I highly recommend. And I think I have, there's a million more on my other desk. Bakelite in the kitchen for utensils. Bakelite jewelry book here. And I think there's maybe 5 or 6 more. This is great. Donna Wasserman and Leslie Pina. I believe they were Cleveland authors. At least I think part was from Cleveland, Ohio. And this is the Bakelite jewelry book. And look, it's so ripped up. The dust jacket's all ripped because I lived with these. I always had these on my nightstand to learn more. And this is the good, better, and best. But you can tell by the pitch in my voice and how crazy I get when I talk about things that I truly, truly love. When I talk about things that matter, both in my collection and the history of collecting. And I hope this video made some sort of sense. But this is, you know, the best I could do today because, like I said, I've been avoiding this. I've been avoiding this because, well, let's just say I have so much more to say and so much more to share. But I had to start somewhere. And I thank you for your forgiveness when, again, I'm not perfect, but none of us are. I just thank you so much for joining in on this, 7 days of celebration. You got me to over 7,000 subscribers now. I'm gleefully on my way to 8,000. And, when you look at other channels, I've said this before, there's other channels that have, millions of viewers. I understand that, but I also understand the fact that I would rather be in front of, shall I say, a select few than in front of a lot of just warm bodies, if you will. And I don't want to base my channel on drama and storytelling and garbage and bad news. I want to stay positive and lighthearted and teach you along the way. These fancy shows and tells, where I started my channel, that's where I'm best, is showing and telling. I was the best at that in grade school. It wasn't a prideful thing. It wasn't like, look what I have that you don't have. It was more along the lines of, look what I have and let me see what you have. Let me see what you love and let me see what makes sense to you. There's the famous Philadelphia bracelet. I have 2 of them. Again, they're in a showcase. I couldn't get to them. But again, please pay attention to these books. They will help you out immeasurably navigate the forms and the known forms of Bakelite. And when you see something that doesn't look right, it's probably not. So stay away from the fakes and the phonies, both in Bakelite and in real world. So I guess that sums it up. Thank you so much for all you've done for me. Please go enjoy your Sunday. Again, I can't thank you enough. I hope that this was an acceptable video. I hope you understand my passion. I've been at this for longer than half my life. It's a labor of love that I've created some of these collections, and I just wanted to come on here and show you not only a portion of my Bakelite collection, but also celebrate the day. What a better way to celebrate today than a colorful, super saturated, gorgeous display of colorful plastics. Again, we'll get into future videos. There's probably another, 10 or 15 I can do on Bakelite. And if you have specific needs or questions, you can always leave it in the comment section. Again, thank you so much to all of you. Mwah! I love you so much.